Alright, let's take a look at the first graph down here. We're asked to find the local and absolute maxes and mins of each function. Let's actually start with the absolute mins and maxes, because that I think you probably understand pretty easily. Absolute minimums. Well, absolute minimum is going to be the very lowest point on the graph, and remember, it can be an endpoint from what we just talked about. So the lowest point on the graph is going to be right here, and that occurs at 5, -6. And really, our minimum, we're talking about the y value. So we could also just say y equals -6 or -6, but we can give the ordered pair. We definitely need to have the y value, though. You can't just tell me at x equals 5. There will be some problems down the road where it asks at what x values, and in those cases you can give the x value, but in general you want to have the y value included in your answer, because that's the lowest y value that we're talking about. Now, an absolute maximum, the highest point on the graph, would be right here, and that occurs when x is 1 and y is 7. So again, you can write it either way, the ordered pair or just y equals 7, or 7. Now, local mins and local maxes, these are points that we're taking a look at on kind of a smaller scale. We're not looking at the whole function, but smaller localized portions of it. So, if we were to look at, let's say, this little portion of our graph. So, we're looking at just this region, forget about everything else. There would be a minimum right here. It's kind of hard to tell, it's kind of in between. Let's say that's at -4, -3, all right, or y equals -3. So that would be a minimum. If we were just taking into account that portion of the graph, nothing else, we have a minimum right there. And we could find a local maximum if we look at this region up here. And if we're looking at this region, this would be a maximum in this portion of the graph. That happened at 1, 7. It's also our absolute max, or y equals 7. Now, you don't have to draw these little rectangles and figure out, okay, what areas am I looking for these local mins and local maxes. These basically happen when the graph changes from decreasing to increasing, or from increasing to decreasing. And you can kind of see here, they look like vertices, like of a parabola. Not that these are necessarily parabolas, but those kind of turning points where we change from decreasing to increasing, or vice versa. That's where those local mins and maxes occur. Right? They're not endpoints. They're points where the graph is turning, right? Where it's changing.